order.
All right, the record reflect we are back in session. Parties to council are present. I'll put this back on the witness stand. Mr. Moline, you may continue your examination.
Thank you.
Mr. McStay, you had mentioned earlier to check your phone records. So I did that. And first I want to show you, and you had Sprint at the time, is that correct?
I believe so.
I'm going to show you these, I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit 993. And tell me if that seems like an accurate depiction of the phone records for the first part of February 2010.
Oh, this is 2000. Yeah, this looks to be. Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, that's my phone number. That's my number.
Okay. On February 4th, in the evening, that's when we were talking about the evening of February 4th. And you told me to check your phone records, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to show you February 4th, and I'm showing you just this page, which is A24 of 29. But if you want to look at any other pages, feel free, okay? And I think the time is on the 11th of the 11th.
What am I looking for?
You had February 4th in the evening.
Mhm.
You had mentioned something about Anaheim. Did I hear you correctly?
Anaheim.
Did you mention that? You were telling me to check the phone record?
Yeah, Jack, that's facts, not
I don't.
evidence.
Just the,
Were these the phone records that you wanted me to check? As to your whereabouts? Is that what you were asking?
Oh, yeah. I was just saying. I believe you can check like doesn't your phone ping off of stuff, and you can put you places.
So on these phone records, if you look at the top, does it give anywhere a location as to where you would be when you make a phone call?
I'm not sure.
There's a location of the call destination, correct?
Yeah, I mean, let's just go with one that I know. So this phone number right here, what is 932? I have no idea. Is that the phone? Is that my 932nd call?
That's the call number. It's called the call number.
Okay, this phone number is. I know this phone number.
Okay.
So is that where he's at? I have no idea.
Okay.
But I
So
know
I'm
he
going
lived.
to ask to put this on the overhead for the jury.
Yeah, Jack, at this point, lacks foundation.
So I don't know what you.
It also violates courts and limited rulings.
right now, the objection sustained is lacks foundation since if he's not familiar with the records as to either the location of the caller or the person being called.
Would you agree, Mr. McStay, that on these records, there's nowhere,
Objection calls for hearsay then at this point. And lacks foundation.
Overruled.
there's nowhere on those records to indicate where you are when a call is made? Would you agree
Objection
with
lacks
that?
foundation from this witness calls for speculation.
Overruled, he can answer if he knows whether or not he can tell that from.
I have no idea how. I mean, I'm not an expert, so I have to talk to Sprint or whoever does that kind of work.
Sure. You know what, the one location they do give is the call destination.
Objection
Do you
calls
agree?
for hearsay.
Sustained.
But these are the phone records you wanted me to check?
I was referring
Objection
to,
argumentative.
Sustained.
No, thank you, man.
And cross.
Does your truck have a fire hydrant box on the back?
no, sir.
Does it have a low-hanging tailpipe?
A hanging,
Low-hanging exhaust pipe?
I believe on my truck, the exhaust is in the middle front, closer to the front of the, on that truck, it was closer to the front, nothing at the back.
Did it have damage to the rear bumper?
Objection is relevant.
No. Oh, sorry.
Overruled.
No. No. Oh, wait a minute, no, on my right side, I had my little light didn't light up, on the running light, but it wasn't, like, broken.
Running light on the bumper or on the?
On my bumper, yeah.
Okay.
The back right.
The statements you were shown from the OC register, when you read that statement to refresh recollection, you saw the little, in the middle of the sentence, dot, dot, dot. Do you know what that means?
Quoting? Like they're quoting me or something? I have no idea.
Wouldn't it mean that the author
Objection
omitted?
now. Objection, Your Honor. He just says he doesn't know what it means.
Sustained this speculation.
May I see that, counsel? What you showed us? You see that I'm going to circle right here, these three dots in the middle of your sentence? You see those three dots?
Yes, sir.
From your high school English class, doesn't that mean
Your Honor,
that the author
objection.
omitted
Your Honor,
content?
objection. Counsel is testifying. He said he
Because
doesn't know.
cross-examination.
The objection sustained is speculation and relevancy.
Is there anything missing from that quote?
May I say it one more time?
Do you know if the author omitted anything from this quote?
I don't know. My fears. I think I paused. I don't know if this is context or not. All I know, it's... Oh, yeah, actually there was something. I think I said, my fear, can I read it out loud?
Sure.
Okay. I think I said, my fear is that I'm looking for two... I think it's not even exactly accurate, but anyway, two adult shallow graves, and my two, I don't know.
You said you don't even think it's accurate. Why do you think that?
Because the media never gets anything straight. They made so many mistakes through this thing, it's ridiculous. So, to be misquoted, it happens like all the time.
Okay. Well, let's go back to March of 2010. What were your fears?
My fear was, at that time, because it was a missing persons case and time has elapsed and people were talking about, longer. So I was concerned that we were looking for homicide, not just, I never believed it was voluntary missing. I said that from day one. So my fear was that we're looking for, the worst case scenario, which is where we're at here today.
And at that time, wasn't any eventuality possible in the means and manner of their disappearance?
I had people going to Mexico. There was so many possibilities and so many theories and so much of everything. Yes,
And your worst fear was they were dead, right?
that would be the worst case scenario for me. Yes, sir.
And isn't the worst fear that they died a humiliating death and were buried in shallow graves in the middle of nowhere?
Yes, sir.
6 miles from the defendant's sister's house.
Your Honor, I would object to this line of questioning. It's not argumentative.
The objection sustained.
Wouldn't that be a fear that it was found 6 miles from the defendant's sister's house?
Objection argumentative.
Sustained.
I think this was covered when you first testified, but I think it's gotten a little muddy. What was your state of mind on the 15th when you talked to Deputy Teamley and then Sergeant Duval?
I was concerned. That was the drop dead date. Met Chase on the 13th. So, I mean, I was urgent enough for me to leave my job in Huntington Beach and go straight there and do whatever needed to get done.
Were you able to accurately remember every single date and every single step you took up to that point?
No, sir. I'm just going off my best
In
recollection.
fact, in your interview, you had to refer to your phone. You even had to call people to clarify your recollection as to who was who and when was what.
Your Honor, I would object now as this is a form of questions and more testimony than a question.
Overruled.
I did check. I did actually, I believe I gave, whatever I had, I gave. Phone numbers, whatever, yeah.
You tried to be as accurate with dates as possible, but isn't it true your memory was, in the emotion of it, not as accurate as it could have been?
Objection argumentative.
Overruled.
Yes, sir. I did the best I could.
So if you had told Deputy Teamley that you had been by on the 4th or the 6th, what is your recollection of that sitting here today?
I'm not sure if, I think that was, I didn't go, I must not have went by, but I had known that I remember that MacGyver was going by to paint that week, so I don't know if it was misconveyed or what, but as I remember, the first day I was there was that Saturday, so that's the best.
Saturday the 13th.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, why don't we point out the elephant in the room? Did you kill your brother?
Absolutely not. No way.
Were you insulted with that implication of questioning?
Objection, Your Honor, that's argumentative.
Overruled.
There's no
Just-
implication that we said that he killed his brother. This is now attacking counsel. Improper question.
If there's a request to approach, we can do that, but argument in front of the jury is not necessarily appropriate.
The objection's overruled.
Could you repeat it?
In that, I forgot it. Maybe I have it right back. Let the court reporter, please.
Sure, reporter, read back the last question. Just the last one.
Question, were you insulted with that information?
Can I answer that?
Yes.
Yes, I was. It's just more mudslinging from the defense.
So, you were the one that called the police to report your brother missing, correct?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Are you aware of the defendant ever calling the police to report your brother missing?
Objection foundation.
Sustained.
You were the one that was sitting there being interviewed in the front of the house. Did they have to look for you to do that interview?
No, sir. No, sir. I voluntarily went there. I voluntarily gave DNA. I voluntarily took polygraph tests. I did whatever I could do.
Did you
Well-
write any checks to yourself dated and backdated to February 4th and deposit them in your personal account?
Your Honor, objection argumented outside the scope now.
Overruled.
No, sir, I did not.
Were you in the high desert on February 6th?
Same objection.
Overruled.
No, sir.
Sorry, February 6th of 2010.
The first time I was ever to where the bodies were found, I was with Randy Kay on that interview. I had never been to that location, didn't know where it was at, got lost trying to get there.
When was that?
You'd have to, I don't remember, when, after the bodies were found and Victor Valley News Group was gonna go put up the crosses for us.
So after November?
After they were found and after the whole CSI digging out the grave thing.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Any regret?
You mentioned, when counsel asked about the statement to the Orange County Register, you said that it was, said that you thought it was a homicide from day one, correct?
Objection, this states his testimony.
Please.
Did you believe it was a homicide from day one? Is that what you said at some point in your testimony?
No, sir, no, that's not what I said.
When Mr. Hines asked you about that statement that you made to the Orange County Register, he brought it up to you and you read it, right?
No.
And you said sometimes the press can be inactive, correct?
Yeah.
Did you call them and say, hey, wait a minute, I didn't make that statement?
I have chewed out a few of the press people along the way for being inaccurate. So, I'm not sure.
You knew Brittany when I asked you about it. You mentioned her by first name. Did you call Brittany after that story came out and tell her I didn't say that?
I'm not sure specifically on that one, on this one.
To your knowledge, did the Orange County Register ever print a correction?
I have no idea.
And when Brittany asked you about your fears, and I think that's what counsel was talking about, what were your fears? If you didn't tell them your fears were that there was a homicide, you were very specific as to what your fear was. And that's what you told the Orange County Register, correct? You didn't say it was just a homicide. You didn't say you thought they were dead. You said specifically the quote in that article, or something close to it.
Objection, leading, asked and answered, compound.
Sustained is that,
I believe my answer is.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It actually in the quote.
As far as accuracy is concerned, you were trying to be as accurate as possible in February of 2010 because the detectives told you how important it was at that point to try and get as much information as possible, correct?
Yeah, at the beginning of a missing persons thing.
In fact, when you first talked to Deputy Tingley, when you first talked to him, you didn't actually go to the station, did you? You called, correct?
I believe we spoke on the phone.
He's the one that said, come down right away.
Yeah, because I said I wasn't sure what to do or how to do it. can I do this over the phone? I was in Huntington Beach. I didn't know, the protocol.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Anything else?
Nope.
Any objection, Mr. McStay being excused
I'll
again?
have to recall, Your Honor.
I thank you, sir, for your attendance, and you are excused again. And you ready with your next witness?
Yes, sir. Your Honor, Mr. McStay be subject to recall.
Sure.
And we would call Sergeant Brian Smith once again.
And you're reminded you're still under oath.
Yes, Your
You may proceed, Mr. McStay.
Thank you. Now, Sergeant Smith, refresh the jury's mind. How long have you been an officer?
Honor. About 15 years.
And during that 15-year period, have you ever had to investigate a stolen vehicle?
Yes, sir. Many.
And you have training on identifying indications of a stolen vehicle on looking at the steering column.
Yes.
Could you please explain to the jury, based on your training experience, things you should be looking for to see if a vehicle steering column has been modified?
Objection, Rollins.
Overruled.
So if you're considering a stolen vehicle or a vehicle that may be stolen, there's a couple things that you would look for on the steering wheel column. I would say one might be the classic thing you see in movies, right, where they pull wires out and maybe they're hot wiring it. A broken steering wheel column would allow you access to the ignition, as well as you could look at the ignition itself to see if maybe an object was forced in there, or not oftentimes, but sometimes there's no indication at all because maybe a shaved key was used or something to that effect.
And as you said, sometimes there's just pulled wires that you can hot wire a car. That's the common term, correct?
That's a possibility, yes.
And there's a lot of times in vehicles to where they will have a locking mechanism that was installed on the steering column, so you couldn't hot wire a vehicle anymore.
Correct.
And it would lock the steering wheel in place to where you had to have some kind of key or some mechanism to unlock the column.
Right, yeah. Most newer cars have it. I don't know when the year they started doing that was, but I'm sure everyone's car here has a steering wheel lock where if you turn it when it's off, it's going to lock and you're not going to be able to move it.
And as cars developed, is it fair to say you've seen your experience that sometimes even the columns were broken to where the locking mechanism was bypassed on older vehicles?
Breaking the steering wheel column to gain access to the ignition? Is that what you're talking about?
To get bypass the steering wheel locking mechanism.
Correct. Yes, they can break the steering wheel column to defeat that.
And so there was ways to drive a vehicle without a key.
Yes, there's many ways to drive a vehicle without a key.
Now, the truck in question that was owned by my client in February of 2010, the Chevy truck, whatever the model. You viewed that truck, correct?
Yes, sir.
And at some point, as you testified earlier, you took the key from property that was located on Joseph McStay's body and to see if it worked in the truck, correct?
Objection, this states his testimony.
Sustained.
Did you not take a key from property to see if it worked in that Chevy pickup truck?
Objection, this states his testimony.
Overruled, and that's what you did then.
No, the trooper, not the Chevy.
You're right. Sorry. Yeah, I'm totally confused. The Isuzu Trooper owned by Joseph McStay in February 2010. Did you take a key that you took from property that was found in Joseph McStay's pocket and test to see if it worked in the Isuzu Trooper?
Yes, sir.
And when you did that, did you look to see if there was any damage to the starting mechanism or steering column or anything that would control the start procedure in the Isuzu Trooper?
No, I didn't notice any damage. The key fit and it cycled the ignition.
Was there any evidence that you saw, based on your training experience, that the start mechanism was modified or showed any indication of being hot wired?
No, there was no damage or anything on the steering wheel column. Like I said, the key fit and cycled the ignition.
Was there anything that you saw when you were inside the Zuzu Trooper at any time that led you to believe that trooper was driven or last driven by not using an actual working key?
Objection calls for speculation.
Overruled, he can answer if he has an opinion.
You would have needed a key. That doesn't mean it had to be the key to that car, though, because there was no damage to the steering wheel column, but a shaved key potentially could have been used, so I can't say for sure the key that belonged to that car had to have been the key used, but it was a key that started it.
Just so we're clear, can you explain to the jury what you mean by shaved key?
So shaved key, if you'll look at your normal car key, you'll see they all have the individual ridges. With older model cars, you can actually shave those ridges down so it will fit in any ignition, and then you can jiggle the key and it'll cycle the ignition if it's a similar length and style of key.
So some cars can be started with other items than the actual key, correct?
Well, in this case, we're talking about a shaved key, but yeah, there's times when they can jam a screwdriver in there and that'll work, but there's significant damage if that happens.
So that's similar, that's common in like old Honda Accords and Civics that used to be a problem in the early 2000s, correct?
Yeah, mostly shaved keys for Hondas, though.
And then Toyota Camry, I believe, also is common to steal a car with a screwdriver, flathead, just shove it in and turn, right?
You can do that, yes.
Do you know of that being a problem with the Isuzu Trooper the year that Mr. McStay had?
Objection calls for speculation, lacks foundation.
Overruled, he can answer if he knows he has an opinion.
No, I don't know that that's a problem.
Now, the key that you took from property to go trying the Isuzu Trooper, do you know, is that the first time that that key was used to try and start that vehicle?
Yes, sir. Yes, it was.
And why did you decide to take the key out of property and go see the start vehicle?
Well, as I testified when we first spoke about this, it became relevant in the course of this trial. Might be information you guys wanted to know if, hey, these keys were found in the graves. Was it actually to the vehicle? So it tested it to say yes or no.
Isn't it true you did based on a defense request?
Objection. Go ahead. What's wrong?
No.
Did you see on the property logs? Oh, strike that. The key was checked into property, correct?
Yes, it was booked in property.
And if that key was checked out at any other time, it would show in the property log for the sheriff's department?
It would be in the, yes, it's PIMS is what it's called, Property Inventory Management. PIMS, P-I-M-S.
And when you checked out the key, you had to check it out through PIMS?
Correct, I signed for it.
No, I have nothing further at this time. We'll have subject to recall if it's necessary.
Of course. Anything on cross at this time?
Not on this subject matter, thank you.
Okay, you can resume your seat at council, please. 1:30? Oh, we're not in session this afternoon. So, we'll be in recess till, we're here tomorrow, right? Yes. I have it all written down here, so. Look up if I was on the right one. So tomorrow we'll be back at 9:30. One of our jurors needed to leave by 3 o'clock tomorrow, is that right? Yes? Okay, so we'll break, we'll be here in the morning, and then we'll break by 3 o'clock, a little bit before. Okay? So again, keep in mind the admonitions previously given to you, not to form or express any opinions about the case, not to discuss the case. And again, that means not discussing anything about the case, neither witnesses, testimony, exhibits, parties, or attorneys. And we'll see everyone back tomorrow morning, 9:30. Thursday, the 11th. The courtroom's not going to be available in the afternoon. There's going to be an installation, so we're probably not going to be in session the afternoon of Thursday, the 11th. We did have an issue with regard to the subpoenas that we were going to do in the morning. Maybe we can do that at 1:30. We can do that upstairs. Okay?
There is one issue I just wanted to address. Tomorrow we have Susanna Ryan come to testify, who's our DNA expert. She also did the collection of the DNA samples that were sent for our testing. One of the things we want to do is have her do a demonstration of how the MBAC works. And I just want to make it clear if there's no objection or if the court's okay with it, because it's a heavy machine or two to have to bring, so I want to clear that before. So just want to make sure it's okay with the court and with the opposing counsel, and there's no objection.
Sure. Okay. Were we doing a motion this afternoon or no?
No.
No? Okay.
We were supposed to, but I'm not sure if we've gotten all the discovery.
You have all the discovery on Mr. Beasley now. I just gave it this morning, but I still have to review it. I haven't.
So were we going to do, when were we going to address that?
It was supposed to be this afternoon, but we just got it.
Yeah, I finally got it from the video that we want to use this morning, so I still have to review it. I got right before court, loaded up on a thumb drive for them so they can get it and we'll review it.
All right. We'll figure out a time to
Right.
do that at some point.
We
Okay.
won't- We won't call them until we've had this all fully addressed.
Okay.